Unit 2 discusses indecency and obscenity. A major difference between obscenity and indecency is that obscenity isn't protected by the First Amendment. Indecency is protected by the First Amendment. Materials are defined by anything that is considered patently offensive, meaning that it appeals to a sexual lustful interest and is very descriptive of sexual content. Indecency also involves sexual matters, but isn't as graphic or as descriptive as an obscene material would be. And so, with indecency, the indecency is not as offensive as obscene material. Indecency was defined by the FCC versus Pacifica case, where George Carlin and his son were riding in a car, and basically the incident of the 7 dirty words were presented in the court case, and it was found that these 7 dirty words couldn't be used. And with indecency, anything dealing with that, and with anything you wouldn't want your children to hear or experience, that would be considered indecent. Obscene material is defined by the Miller versus California case, where a man named Marvin Miller was basically mailing and distributing, trying to sell obscene material. And so with that court case, in Roth versus US, there was a 4-prong test, and so that was in 1957. But with the Miller test in 1973, after the Roth versus US case in 1957, the Miller test was applied in Miller versus California, where basically Marvin Miller was delivering mail and trying to sell obscene material. And so in the court case, it was defined that with any obscene material, it has to be appealing to prurient interest as the first prong. The work has to be patently offensive by a community standard, and ultimately the work has to pass a lapse test, which involves a literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. So if it doesn't appeal to any of those 3 prongs, then the work can be considered obscene and can result in fines and jail time, possibly. The latest case dealing with indecency deals with the Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake incident that happened in the 2004 Super Bowl, where basically Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson were doing a performance, and there was a wardrobe malfunction where he reached across performing one of the lyrics to the song, where it involves taking off clothes, but I guess they didn't realize that her wardrobe would actually be as revealing as it was. And so the FCC ended up finding them, or attempting to find CBS for broadcasting this, because on any public broadcast, they could be fined by the FCC because the FCC regulates all public airwaves. Eventually the case was overturned because of appeals, and the FCC was applying too much force, basically. And under fleeting expletives, this was a mistake that, could happen at any time during a live event. And so with fleeting expletives, you have a certain amount of chances. Like if you were cursing on a show, it's like if you let one curse word slip and you're performing a song and you're supposed to be clean, it's understandable. But if you're cursing the entire song after you were told not to, that's when the FCC could really step in and add large fines.